Hello guys! As a little preamble, this video was made with those in mind who have no prior knowledge to Magic the Gathering, but are driven by a curiosity or interest for it. Some of the following information will feel mundane for a regular player, as it is meant to be a catalog and introduction for the absolute basis of the game and world of MTG. So let's keep focusing on the meta at hand. What is Magic the Gathering? Magic the Gathering is a card game with a trading card pool of around 30,000 unique cards, originally designed by Richard Garfield to fill time gaps around 15 to 30 minutes targeted towards students with a role-playing background. Now one of the biggest and most successful products of Hasbro. A beautiful combination of artwork, strategic thinking, game design philosophies and storytelling in a ludonarrative way. But what is Magic the Gathering? Magic the Gathering is a card game where players assume the roles of battling wizards. Their cards in the deck represent the spells that they use to summon creatures, conjure powerful magic, and activate magical trinkets in their attempt to defeat their opponent. And yes, sorry, I do know what you meant. Okay, let's get it on in detail. To break this massive topic down, we will look at MTG from 3 different angles. First, what is MTG? As in world building, lore and story. Second, how to play MTG, with all its simple and complicated rules as a game. And third, how to start playing, like getting your cards and finding players to play with. So, let's start with the first part of Chapter 1 world building, the planes. A plane is a self-contained world or universe of any size found within the multiverse of Magic the Gathering. Most planes are spheres with an atmosphere and one or more suns and moons. They resemble planets, but there's no law of physics common to all planes of the multiverse. Planes can be infinite expanses of matter, tiny specks of empty space, or logic-defying inversions of normal reality. The plane of Ravnica is almost completely covered in cityscape. The plane of Amonkhet strongly resembles a planet covered with the different biomes found in Egypt. Argentum was an artificial plane created by a godlike being where everything was a mix of organic and metallic matter, that was later twice transformed to different forms of metal planes. The most important and first plane introduced to Magic is Dominaria. For the longest time, it was the center of the multiverse, called the Nexus. Most of MTG's storyline happens on Dominaria. There is a nearly infinite number of different planes in MTG. On to part 2, the inhabitants of the planes. Planes are populated by a variety of creatures. Foundation to great magical phenomena, the treasury to powerful objects, witness of world-changing magical rituals, location of impressive structures and scenery, and overseen by the most powerful beings in the multiverse of MTG, Planeswalkers. Only Planeswalkers have the ability to travel between planes. They once had near godlike powers like the ability to create worlds or change time and laws of nature. Even after the global culling of this godhood, they still wield immense magical powers. In the actual game, a Planeswalker is the thematical identity of a player. And the cards represent all those things in the game. Let's talk about a more abstract idea in MTG, mana. Some of you may already have a concept of this expression, as it is widely used in all kinds of media, and MTG shares some of the concepts. Mana is the magical energy that fuels the spells of spellcasters. Some points in space can have more mana than others, and mages can draw on such wells of mana. Mana can condense into creatures such as angels or elementals, or exist inside of some material objects such as plants or minerals. It is deeply interconnected with the life force on every plane in the multiverse. When there's little or no mana in an area, things die or become emaciated and weak. In the actual game, mana is mostly generated by lands and is the central resource for most player actions. From one central figure of MTG to the next, let's have a look on the color pie. The color pie is a game design philosophy outside of the game, and an actual philosophy and natural law in the world of the game. There are 5 colors in the MTG multiverse. Each of those 5 colors represents a set of beliefs and principles, giving identity to characters and organizations. A color's philosophy explains how it sees the world and what objectives it hopes to realize, and what resources and tactics a color has at its disposal. Adjacent colors have partly similar ideologies and are known as allied colors. Colors on opposite sides have radically conflicting views and are called enemy colors. Now let's get into detail regarding each of the colors on their own. White idealizes peace, believing that there are enough resources in the world for everyone, but this is compromised by selfish desires. White puts the community above the individual and achieves its goal through tenets of structure. Laws, civilization, cleansing, uniformity, and morality are their keywords. In the actual game, it uses mechanics like gaining life, preventing damage, removing threats, favoring multiple weaker creatures over a few strong ones, resetting the battlefield by removing likewise the enemies and its own cards. Blue thinks that anyone can become what they want to be, and that the world has the potential to be improved upon. Blue strives to understand and achieve their perfect self and world through education, prudence, and experience. Curiosity, analysis, knowledge, possibility, oversight, technology, willpower, illusion. In the actual game, it uses drawing cards, changing control, library destruction, counter spells, mimicry and copy, evasion, time manipulation, stalling, and negating enemy threats. Black sees the world as a place where every individual works for their own earned benefit and is responsible for their own fate. Black seeks to acquire self-determination and power by any possible opportunity, shortcut, or loophole it can find. Wealth, influence, self-sacrifice, exploitation, murder, apathy, cruelty, ignorance to morality. In the actual game, discarding, reanimation, lifelink, sacrificing life or creatures for greater benefits, destroying creatures, weakening or parasitizing creatures and players. Red embodies impulse and chaos, believing that people fundamentally know what they want in their heart and that satisfying one's individual passions brings true happiness. Red wants the liberty to follow their own emotions and yearns to accomplish this through immediate action based on whatever current feelings Red has. Aggression, compassion, expression, swiftness, directness, recklessness, impulse, independence. In the actual game, direct damage, haste, efficient mana, favoring power over toughness, random effects, destroying artifacts and lands. Green's mantra is growth through acceptance, seeking harmony or acceptance through growth or growth through wisdom. Green's core philosophy thinks that the world as it is and how it functions is already perfect, and that the key to life is to understand your place in it. Growth, strength, primal instincts, natural order, food chain, coexisting, symbiosis, circle of life. In the actual game, strong creatures with high power and toughness, destroying artifacts and enchantments, gathering lands, life gain, boosting power and toughness, trample. Cards can have multiple colors and combine characteristics from each of their colors. The different combinations of color are named by their respective factions in the lore, like the Guilds of Ravnica for the 2-color combinations, the Shards of Alara or Clans of Tarkir for the 3-color combinations, and the Nephilim cards for the 4-color combinations. As a conclusion to our first chapter, let's have a brief and I cannot overstate the emphasis on brief, look at the timeline of MTG. The timeline roughly spans around 25,000 detailed years, plus an additional prehistory span of about 100,000 years with no real records. It starts with minus 20,000 AR with the Time of Dragons, finds its center at 0 AR with the birth of the brothers Urza and Mishra, two of the most important characters in history, which both impacted and formed multiple planes during their relationship, dispute, and in the end war with each other. The timeline is currently in the age of 4546 AR. The different sets of the card game represent different planes during various points on the timeline. Some sets show an overview and represent characters, occasions, etc. from multiple planes and points in time. The complete timeline can be checked under this link.